Okay, Shelby, hi. Okay, got your workup. Looks like you changed the front and then we've got the back. And I commented on the back over in grading, but I'll share some comments here as well. Um, so since this is the first time I've seen the front with the back, a lot makes sense. Now, remember I was saying in grading, remember I was saying that it's going to be difficult with the redesign to ascertain the harmony between the front and the back without seeing the front. So here we are with the front. So this is great. Let's talk about the front. Right now, I think the front, and you know what, boy, I wish that there was a PDF here. You know, I like to zoom in and zoom out and draw guides and things, but I can't do that without a PDF. So I guess I'll just try to describe this the best I can. So I think right now, I think your hierarchy is a little bit reversed here, and I think that the Nobel laureate is to you. It's not malaria. So right now you're saying malaria Nobel laureate, okay, and then so it's a little confusing. So I say do this. I say take 2UU and make that your focal point, all right? And then go ahead and take this for the treatment of malaria, typographic composition, and move it down here. So just kind of replace those. 2UU, Nobel laureate, for the treatment of malaria. I think it would read so much better in it. It sounds better than for treatment of malaria, Nobel laureate, 2UU. Okay, this sounds better, 2UU, Nobel laureate for treatment of malaria. I think that makes much more sense. It's more linear. It creates no pun or no comparison here, but a timeline of what's happening here in the relationship between malaria and 2UU. Okay, visually, I think it's just so much better. The cover is so much better. It's dirty, but it's hot too. So you don't have that kind of green jungly thing that cools down the temperature of this composition by being primarily green. Hope that makes sense. Well, obviously it does because you changed it. So good job. Now, I think that this right here, this real deep drop shadow, this or cast shadow, this is a mistake. It's too heavy. It's just too heavy. This is okay, but I don't even know if you need that dimension in here. I mean, do you need the type to be that separated, much separated from the background? I don't. The type has a relationship with the background. In that we're talking about malaria, and the type has this hot, kind of dirty, sticky feel. So there is a relationship. So I wouldn't want to separate the words from the background. And that's what the drop shadows and these little dimensions, our shadows, are doing. I'm saying go with this typeface and just present it flat on this background with no dry. See that? See how that's thinning it out right there? Because these shadows are basically they're creating an optical illusion with the letters, and it's making the letters much smaller than they actually are. So it's working in reverse, kind of in two ways. As I was saying, my suggestion would be really lighten the color of those, take all those shadows away, just present them flat on the background so they have a nice relationship with the background instead of being separated from the background. Okay, let's move on to the back. Now, I did talk about this typographically. Okay, a couple of things I talked about for those. I'm just going to share this for the people who are watching along, Shelby. So, well, I just go. This will be recap for you. But there's a widow. There's a widow. That your type wrap here it's okay, but type wrap, as I've been telling students, it doesn't work that well with on the ragged side of a paragraph. Well, for obvious reasons, because they're differing lengths. So type wrap works fantastic with justified paragraphs. The other thing I was saying, and I think that again, wait a second there, we got that widow. The one thing I was saying is, and those of you who are watching along, look at this negative shape right here, and think of that negative shape, the Gestalt illustration with the two vases. Some people see two vases, some people see two faces. So, and that's all negative space. I want you to concentrate on this shape right here, and look how it's so big and bulky right in there. And that indicates that these lines are too short. So I would definitely increase the line length here. Let's get an average of about to where that 30 ends, if not closer. That gutter, the distance between. Okay, that would be a good ending right there for your gutter, right there at that E is. That would be a good ending for your gutter. It would bring those type boxes closer together and make them appear as they're related to each other, part of the same group, as it were. By separating them so far, it appears as they might be two different subjects. Okay, and then the next thing I was saying is that I don't see the relationship now. Shelby, I don't see the relationship between the back and the front covers. I don't know what these boxes are or these shapes, and the viewer's not going to know either. So if they don't know what they are, they're not going to make sense. They're going to leave the piece with a little bit of confusion. We can rectify that. I don't think you need these shapes. Let's get rid of them. Get rid of them. Work on some sort of a background, a variation of this, a continuation of this, something. Maybe even just the lighter side of it right there. And get your type in there. All right. I would compose your type compose this as basically as a 3-column. Okay, there's one type, there's her image, and then do some kind of cool timeline along the bottom. And I think that, the timeline, I wanted to show you this. We talked about this you're really close to the margin right there with your type, really super close. Look how far you are down there. So your margins are pretty uneven. Got to get that evened out. That's too close to a no print zone. This isn't a timeline per se. It's just a chronological order of events. And a timeline is more of a visual. It's got an infographic feel to it. And I brought this up for you just so you can get an idea of what some different timelines look like. Here's the timeline of Mario Brothers. And then let me see, there was another pretty cool one. That's a pretty cool one right there, some kind of timeline. But as you can see, there's always an infographic feel. The timeline itself is usually a graphic, and there's usually bars coming off that graphic indicating to specific years, and those years represent specific events. Here's another fantastic example. So you can see how it has like this infographic feel as opposed to what you have here, and that's just a chronological list of events. Okay, so again, in review, reformat the hierarchy of your type, UU2, Nobel laureate for treatment of malaria, remove your drop shadows, okay, lighten that color up considerably. And then think about your background here. This might be too bright of a background, so think about something. It could possibly even be a white background because she did work in a lab. It is malaria, it is the jungle, but she did work in a lab. So I'm wondering if that kind of pristine white background might show a relationship between her work in the jungle as opposed to her work in the lab. That might be kind of cool. At any rate, what I'm getting at is I just don't think you need all these different layers and all these different things. Okay, so and then I was saying, yes, go ahead. Here's 2 type columns, 3-column grid, right? Type column 1, type column 2, image, timeline, white background. Let me know what you think. All right, good job. If you have any questions at all, please let me know. Thanks.